Hello and welcome to Ellevate Design's Learn to Knit tutorial series. Today we're going to learn about the knit stitch. For this tutorial you'll need some yarn and a pair of knitting needles. These could be straight or circular. The knit stitch is one of the most fundamental stitches in knitting, and it's usually the first stitch to be learned by beginner knitters. So we'll start with the knit stitch today. You can see here that I have a set of cast on stitches on my left hand needle. If you need help with this step, watch our Learn to Knit tutorial on casting on. So with the cast on stitches on the left hand needle, I'm going to hold the right hand needle in my right hand. If you're a left-handed knitter, you might have these the other way around. You can also see that there are two strands coming off of the knitting. The one that goes to the ball of yarn is our working yarn, and the one that goes to the cut end is the tail. Make sure that you're using the working yarn and not the tail as we work through our stitches today. So, to knit a stitch, move the right hand needle through the front of the first stitch on the left hand needle from front to back. Take the working yarn around the right hand needle from back to front underneath the needle and from front to back over top of the needle. You'll see now that the working yarn has formed a loop around the right hand needle. Hold a little tension in the working yarn as you do this. Now we're going to slide the right hand needle back through the first stitch on the left hand needle, making sure that the working yarn keeps its loop around the right hand needle. You can use your left hand to guide the needle through if you find this helpful. So now you have a loop on the right hand needle. This is your first knit stitch. To finish this step, we're going to slip the first stitch off of the left hand needle like this. You can see that the stitch from the left hand needle is looped around the new stitch that you just created on the right hand needle. This is the very beginning of your knitted fabric. Now we'll continue in the same way with the other stitches on the left hand needle. Let's work the next couple together. We insert the right hand needle through the front of the first stitch on the left hand needle from front to back. Wrap the working yarn around the right hand needle underneath from back to front and then over top from front to back, holding a little tension in the working yarn. You can use your left hand finger to guide the right hand needle back through that front stitch and then slip that stitch off the left hand needle. You've just created your second stitch. Now I'll show you a few more around, back through. And we continue down the set of stitches on the left hand needle. So you can see we're getting close to the end of the stitches here. So we'll work the last two. And the last one. Now you can see that I've reached the end of my row of stitches. To keep going, we turn the knitting around and switch the needles from one hand to the other, like this. Now again, make sure that you have your working yarn that's connected to your ball of yarn that you're going to use and not the tail. And now we start just like we did before. You can see that we have all the stitches on the left hand needle, and the right hand needle and the working yarn are held in my right hand. So I'll show you a few stitches to begin this next row. and you continue down the row. After you've worked a few rows, your knitting will look like this. You can see the knitting looks the same on both sides. There are rows of bumps, and if you look closely in between them, there are rows of little V's. We'll talk more about these in the next tutorial. So there you have it, the knit stitch. Give it a try. Let me know if you have any questions, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of Ellevate's Learn to Knit tutorials.